All right. Good afternoon. My name is Danny M. I'm the host and creator of the Sister Talk podcast. And today we have a very special guest, Miss Charlee King. And wait a minute, we have my friend, aka my co-host, aka Oak Cliff for life, aka New Texas, baby. We got Miranda Hines on the show today.
Hey y'all.
Come on in, man, shout out before we get started. No? Okay, fine. All right, so Charlie, we want to thank you so much for coming onto the show today. Today, we're going to talk about a very serious topic, and that's lactation. You're the CEO of Mommy Sweet Treats. I checked you out. You have a lot of great things going on. You're in the Houston area, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so like I checked out your IG, so make sure you guys go follow her, Mommy Sweet Treats. Very, very professional, very, very creative ideas that you came up with, and I wish I would have known about you about 3 years ago. But without further ado, please let the audience know who you are, where you're from, and a little bit about your business.
All right, and my name is Charlee King. I'm originally from Los Angeles, California, but I reside in Houston, Texas. I own Mommy Sweet Treats, which is started off as a lactation cookie company, but now we have apparel, we have nipple balm, we have lactation tea, a bunch of good stuff for moms, and we try to educate moms, especially mothers of colors, on the importance of breastfeeding and also maternal and child health.
And I can attest to those nipple bombs. Woo, those are life changing and life saving and nipple saving too.
Yes, yes.
That's good stuff. So, so you've been here in Houston for how long?
I've been here for a while. I came in high school, so I've been here for
Oh,
a while. Yeah.
that's a long time. So let me ask you about these cookies because that's honestly what caught my attention on your Instagram page. I was like, wow, I didn't even I've heard of them, but I'm always a lot of people are probably leery about tasting them. Do they taste just like, chocolate chip cookies, for instance?
Well, my brand of cookies do, and that's what I wanted to make sure happened before I produced the cookie. So myself and a chemist from Morehouse got together. I had the idea because I went to school to get my lactation consultant certification, and during clinical, I met a Black nurse, and she was telling me about these lactation brownies that she had bought from like Babies R Us or some store like that. She said they, along with the lactation consultant, giving her like certain, positions on holding the baby and information, that the brownies helped on top of that. So she just said that she didn't like the way that it tasted, because it tasted like it had medicine in it. So I went home and I was like, okay, what can I create that actually tastes good and something that's portable? So I came up with the cookie. So my friend, like I said, he's a chemist, and me and him got together and we saw what the original recipe for a lactation cookie is. And I must say the ingredients are not that great. So we made the first batch, based on the typical like recipe, and it was horrible. So we worked on it and worked on it and worked on it until we finally got it down to where if you taste the cookie, you actually think you're eating a cookie, which sometimes is a good thing, but sometimes a bad thing because the moms are continuing to eat them because I think they're a snack, but
Yeah,
it's like,
that's
no.
true. Like, do you have any idea why after we have our children, especially when we're breastfeeding, like I know for me, I was craving chocolate. And the doctors always say stay away because you don't know if your child has that chocolate allergy and other reasons, right? For
Right.
digestive reasons. It's like, why do we crave sweet stuff? I know I did. I don't know about you, Miranda. Did you crave sweets? I don't know if she can hear me.
Okay.
Miranda, can you hear us?
I don't think she can.
I don't think she can hear us. Miranda, can you hear us?
No,
Oh, okay. I was gonna
it
ask
keeps
you, did you crave?
freezing, unfortunately.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I was asking, did you crave sweets after you had your baby?
I can hear your question.
Oh, okay. I said, did you crave sweets after you had your baby?
No,
Yeah, me
I
neither.
did, like
no,
severely.
I
no.
did. I didn't crave them when I was pregnant, and I definitely didn't crave them
Yeah.
afterwards.
Well, I'm the only one. Okay, well, let me just speak on myself then. I wanted chocolate chip cookies. I wanted sugar cookies, and I couldn't have them.
Every
So
pregnancy is different, and every mom experiences different cravings. Like I didn't get the pickles or any of that type of stuff. Like I mean, I need none of the babies I had cravings at all.
Oh, okay.
That's good. You are lucky because I think first trimester, Charlie and Miranda, I was like craving salads, nothing
Yeah.
but lettuce,
Mhm.
tomato, onion,
Yeah.
carrots, anything vegetable related. I wanted. Second trimester, and I couldn't eat meat first trimester.
Right.
Anything with meat would make me just go to the trash can. Now second semester, I wanted meat. I mean, I wanted the big meat like steak. I wanted the tough, heavy stuff and I didn't want any lettuce, no vegetables. I just wanted all meat. And I was like, what kind of baby is this? And then third trimester is just like whatever, anything went.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the same thing, but I didn't want meat at all. All I wanted was anything that was vegetable related, root beer and ground black pepper. Everything had to have ground black pepper on it. Everything.
That's different. That's crazy. And then in addition to us having these weird cravings, our hormones are like literally all over the place. Like I don't know about you two, but mine were. Like I remember getting upset with my husband because when he came in from work, he didn't immediately give me a hug, and like I just flipped out. And I was like, this has to be the baby because the normal me would never care about something like that. I don't know. What did you guys do? I know y'all got some stories. Come on, don't be shy.
I was not emotional, but I was very horny, like all the time. Like that was my thing. Like I didn't cry a lot. I don't know, like, you know how they say some moms in third trimester, they start, cleaning. None of that. I just was like, come on, all the time.
That's so funny. Hi, Verona. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Make sure you like, comment, share. There's probably pregnant women right now. Praise be to you guys because it's hot. I don't know what outside right now.
Yes, it is.
Woo. Being pregnant in August? No, ma'am.
Mm-mm.
But I mean, for all of y'all, just keep it moving. What were you going to say, Miranda? Were you going to say something? No? Oh, well, Charlie, I think we're having like some delay issues, and it's probably the heat. We're probably having a solar flare and don't know because it's that hot outside. So, what really inspired you to come up with your business, Mommy's Sweet Treats?
I just noticed, one, I had an issue when I had my daughter. I knew I wanted to breastfeed, and I never had a lactation consultant come in to speak with me. So, I mean, nursing is one thing, but most nurses aren't trained in lactation to help you breastfeed. They're just trained for like the basic minimum of what they need to be trained in for L&D or whatever the department is. So the nurse really couldn't help me the way I wanted her to, and she didn't even know what a lactation consultant was. So when I left, I'm like, okay, I can't be the first person this has happened to. So when I started the journey and started finding out about the lactation consulting, I noticed that whenever I did clinicals, we never interacted with Black mothers. So it was always white for sure, and Hispanic and maybe some Asian, but it was never Black. So that really just made me feel like, okay, something is off with that. So, of course, I say this jokingly and seriously too. Whenever a Black woman has a baby, I think like a bat signal goes out to the WIC office because I never applied for WIC. But as soon as I had my daughter, like everything WIC related came to me, and it's like they're trying to like, hey, how about this free formula and all this other stuff. And and even when I went to the WIC office, they have a lactation consultant there, but she definitely was not trying to press the issue. She was like, do you want to breastfeed? Yeah, okay, well, here's a pamphlet. It wasn't anything to try to like help me, or if you're having difficulties, or about the latch positions. It was nothing like that. It was kind of set up to me for you to fail to where you would just be like, okay, forget it. I don't want to try it. Let me just get this. Right. So that's what inspired me.
No kidding, because my first daughter, unfortunately, I wasn't able to breastfeed because I was still in college. And so I really tried one time for her to latch on, and she didn't. So that's how I determined, oh, well, maybe she's not,
right.
She's not the baby that wants to breastfeed, but that's not the case.
Right.
But I didn't have anybody, like you said, that was going to sit with me one-on-one and show me how it's done. That's interesting. Mm-hmm. But baby 2 came out hungry, so we didn't have any problems.
Right.
Yeah. That's interesting. That's so what are you doing? So obviously Mommy's Sweet Treats is definitely a great way for especially African-American women to learn more about breastfeeding and how to do so properly. So give me just one moment here. All right. So I guess have you done any community outreach programs or events where you gather women together to give them more information about breastfeeding and the benefits of it?
Yes, I've done quite a few events. Unfortunately, it has been like pulling teeth when it comes to getting Black women to attend. Every other race will come out with open arms. Black women are very resistant. Dare I use the word ignorant when it comes to even trying to give them information on something so important. I have created 3 lactation rooms, one at my hospital facility, one at my former job, and the first one at HBCU, Texas Southern University. I created a mother's room there. So it's a breastfeeding room there for the faculty and visitors and students who may have families and need a place to go and breastfeed or change the baby and things like that. It's in the student center. So yeah, I've done a few things.
No, I like that because you creating those safe spaces makes it easier for someone who was a little hesitant at first or apprehensive in doing so. Makes it kind of eases the pressure and
Right.
allows them to just be them and actually participate in Mother Nature. So I love the fact that you said that, you know, a lot of Black women are ignorant to the important beauty behind breastfeeding. A lot of us frown up, a lot of us are, we oppose it, you know, we're
Right.
against it completely, especially I noticed some of our Black men too. If I could really put that out there and be transparent, I've heard a couple of people say, and even a couple of Black women say, nobody wants to see your breast, you know. And I'm saying to myself, we're modernized now, you know, we're in 2021, but back then, you know, what kind of statement is that? So I mean, it's just, to me, it just doesn't make a lot of sense because, you know, we spend a lot of time drinking cow milk,
Right.
right? So why can't our children have the most natural source of pure energy, and that's coming from their mother? So we have Gerard that says, why do you feel Black women are hesitant to attend those programs?
Because they don't know any information about breastfeeding. This whole thing started as far as like the stigma of the wet nurse that was put out for Black women to kind of frown upon breast milk was something that was set up during slavery. So the reason why white people wanted Black women to breastfeed is because they recognized the benefit during slavery. So, you know, back then they weren't getting fed properly and things like that. And but they were noticing that the men were still able to go out and be in the field and do everything they needed to do, even though their diet wasn't, you know, where it needed to be for them to be there strong to do that. So they noticed that the Black men were actually breastfeeding off of the woman. So the Black men would be in the field, they would breastfeed, and the nutrition from the Black woman's breast would help the men, you know, be able to go throughout the day. White people saw this and realized, well, hey, if that's good enough for a Black man to give him this strength, then I want this for my kid. But for some reason, Black people want to be like white people and white women for some odd reason. So when they start getting to a point to where they can evolve and have this and have that, they don't want to be maids anymore because I'm above that. I don't want to be a wet nurse, which is what they start calling it, because you know that's something that makes me look like I'm a maid. I want, you know, I'm up and coming and I'm like a white woman, so now I can just have my baby do a bottle, and also them having to go to work. So to me, that's where I think it stems from, and it's just trickled down from generation to generation to generation to where it's looked at as something that's disgusting. But me personally, I haven't had any issues with Black men when it comes to like breastfeeding and the education of they actually want to know. And my biggest client is actually a Black man.
You know, that's very interesting.
Yes,
You
it's actually
know,
a Black
everyone's
man.
gonna have their different experience, but I love that.
Yeah.
Tell us more. Yeah.
So he's in Michigan. I don't know who this man is, but he's in Detroit, Michigan. When I tell you he buys a month's supply every month, and I probably think he's reselling them or maybe giving off a gift. I don't know.
I bet you he's probably feeding a community of
I,
children.
I'm
I
pretty
bet you.
sure. Because he does
Wow.
this faithfully, like faithfully. But most men just wanted their main thing. They wanted to know what was in the cookie, but they were definitely not opposed or even ignorant about okay breastfeeding. Like they understood, like oh okay, well that makes sense to me. It's the women. And to
Mm.
me, I'm like, well, you don't want your baby to breastfeed and latch onto your nipple when the breast is for them, but you gonna let Dante suck on it? Like he ain't gonna benefit from that. Like
And that speaks to what Gerard just said. He said, I think that the breasts are sexualized. You
yes,
know, that's a hurdle. Yeah. We
yeah,
don't see it as an energy supplier, as a
right.
necessary food source for a newborn. We see it as play toys.
But it goes back from generations, from the stigma of not wanting to look like, like a maid or wet nurse. So they just decided, I don't want to do that. I'm not in that anymore. So let me just go over here to this bottle. They just feel like it makes them feel less than. It's been trickled down. So you don't see the grandmothers showing the mom and the mom showing the daughter breastfeeding. Most women that I meet now that breastfeed are first generation breastfeeders.
I was gonna say also, I think a lot of it has to do with convenience. A lot of women that I know feel like breastfeeding is too hard because of all the work that you have to put in it. When you could pour water into a bottle, shake it up, and give it to your baby. They Well, I once heard somebody say, if you want to hide something from a Black person, put it in a book. And it's so interesting because now we have technology at our fingers and you can have access to anything. And instead of educating ourselves, a lot of people, they just want to take the easy way out. And so, I mean, that's just my opinion, especially since I told you, I'm a first generation breastfeeder, like you said. And when I talk to my family and things like that, my sister, she breastfed for the first time, so it's just a lot of people, they don't know better. So they're scared to step out. And then when they see what the work is entailed, it's like, oh my goodness, I could just do this bottle or, have to do all this. That's just my insight.
But to me, what's more convenient than just pulling your breast out and latching the baby? You don't have to get a bottle. You don't have to warm it. You don't have to measure it. You don't have to shake it. You know what I'm saying? To me, that's more convenient than anything. But it's just the lack of information. I mean, because you can pump and freeze. And to where you're not having to latch the baby all the time. So it's a bunch of different ways that you can still breastfeed as far as incorporating it with your time management. It's just the information is there. It's just they're not either searching for it. They don't have anyone that can bring it to them. So that's what my main goal is. If I never sell another cookie, I'm okay with that. If I can get the information out there to make it easier, especially for working mothers, on how to, do your time management and understanding, if the baby's latch, if it hurts, that means the baby's latch strong.
Right.
It's supposed to be uncomfortable, but it's not supposed to hurt. But it's certain things like that. Like you said, the baby didn't want to latch, or if they did latch, it's like, okay, I don't think they want to do it. And that necessarily is not the case.
Yes, I was an extremely young mother. I was 20. I turned 21 in the hospital. So imagine, I was young, inexperienced. I didn't have my mom there to teach me anything. And I don't even think she breastfed any of us either. So I may be first generation as well. Right. We have Raw Take podcast. Shout out to Raw Take, by the way. Y'all go check out their podcast. They are very raw. And they do give you their raw take. But they said breastfeeding also seems to build a closer bond between the mother and baby. It's far from being gross. It's natural and its main ingredients to a healthy baby. Couldn't agree with Raw Take more. And I think that's something that we as Black women, a lot of us, not just us, but a lot of us, we do forget about that bond and that connection that we need to make with our child. And it's not easy, especially for some of us who have to get cesarean. So I had to have two cesareans, right? The first one was an emergency. And because of that, the second baby, the doctor didn't want to chance it, even though it had been, God knows how, it had been a century, Charlie, since I had the last child. They didn't want me to do a VBAC. For people who don't know what that is, that's, vaginal birth. So I wanted to do that because I see how women snap back after that vaginal birth. And I'm like, yes, I'm trying to be like that. But I was swollen for a long time because of the surgery, because of the drugs that they give you so that your body can heal. And, I must say with the second child, there was a deeper connection. There was a stronger bond because she literally depended on me to survive. And I think when we think about it in its most rawest, simplest form, that's truly what it's all about. I think we get comfortable because we have access to so much. We have access to technology, lights, running water, gas, whatever it takes for us to be comfortable. But what if those things left? Then what?
Right. Then you have no choice then.
Yeah, you're going to pop those babies out.
Yeah, but I know it can be extremely hard, especially for a single mother, a single working mother, to try to navigate breastfeeding on top of everything else they have to navigate. And people think that when women are on maternity leave that they're relaxing and, you know, just chilling. It's like, no, that's definitely not what's going on during maternity leave, you know? So I don't think women get enough time to even be with their babies before it's time to go back to work. And even when they're at work, I know that a lot of companies are not really taking in consideration. I call it having a timeout time. You know, you have your little 15-minute break, your 30-minute break. But I really would like to, I've been working on this bill for a while, and I would hope to get it passed. But it's kind of like how you go to work and you accrue PTO. I want you to accrue PTO for breastfeeding. So instead of you getting those 3 or 4 hours every 2 checks, maybe you get 3 hours and that other hour goes to like a bank for breastfeeding time. So it's not taken out of your check if you have to stop doing whatever you're doing to go and breastfeed. You know what I'm saying? So I've been working on that for a while. So
thank you. Look, listen, for all these future moms, y'all better thank Charlee, because seriously, you're really considering. There's a lot of work into raising a baby, but there's also a lot of work in keeping that baby alive, especially if they're depending only on your breast milk. And, you know, we look at all these other countries, and I know you know this already, Sister King, I'm gonna call you Sister King, because these other companies, they get up to a year off, and it's paid leave. And the fathers get that leave off as well, in case America didn't know this. America gives women here about 6 weeks, I believe. But if you want to go any longer, for me, I went 4 months and I didn't get paid beyond that 6 weeks, right? So if you can stand that not getting paid, then you can do it. But what about those people who don't? They can't afford that,
right?
Then what? You know,
to me, that's where our Medicaid and our government assistance should go. Not the girl who's sitting at home all day not doing anything. So if I'm working, that should accrue something to where as soon as my PTO runs out, first of all, I should have to use my PTO. But since I got to use it to be out for FMLA or whatever, and maternity leave, fine. But as soon as that stops, that should kick in. You know what I'm saying? But we don't get that. We're trying to decide, okay, is 6 weeks going to be enough? You know, I have to make sure, you know, you're already stressed as you're pregnant, especially if you're a single mom. Or I got to save up enough money to where if I'm off, I can still have everything I need and still function as if I'm still getting money come in. To me, that's the unbalance. And I've said that for years. Like, no, I think moms should get the assistance. You need that food. You need the break. I think you should be off at least 6 months, if not a year.
I agree.
But you know what happened? A bunch of women just start getting pregnant to be off because you know it's those.
I hope not. Because maybe those kids are with you for 18 years.
Yes.
Miss Verona Brown. Look, I love kids, by the way. Nobody go back and try to misconstrue what I just said. Verona Willis Brown says breastfeeding snaps your belly back in place within the first month. Now, Verona, that's for some people, honey. Now, for people like myself that like to eat, better add a plus 12 months, a couple of years. Okay. All right. But I do get what you're saying. It is true. You do lose more weight, and you kind of, I know I can have my shape back immediately because of breastfeeding, you know, so it does help. What do you think, Charlee? Would you agree with that?
I mean, it helps because you're getting rid of the water weight through your breast, but I say as long as it took you to carry it, as long as it's going to take you to snap back.
And don't beat yourself up if you don't.
Right. Don't let these celebrities fool you about these snapbacks that they're having in 2 days. Okay.
I know this. I was like, because I was saying to myself years ago, I was like, how in the world did they just have this baby with this flat tummy? But then you go behind the scenes and see, they went and got that tummy tuck, or they went and got that extra lipo and a non-invasive lipo. Right. So Verona says, I don't think jobs give enough time for maternity leave. Most jobs request mothers to come back 6 weeks, which is nonsense. Right. Yeah, I agree.
Danielle, remember I was telling you I lost my job during COVID? That's why. I was told that I had up to 12 if you do FMLA for maternity, that you can get up to 12 weeks. So I did that. And when I went back, they said no. They said we gave your position to somebody else because I was gone longer than the 6 months.
And I thought that was illegal. Is that illegal, Charlee, for them to?
The only thing they have to do, they don't have to give her position back. The only thing they have to do is offer her a position. It could be anything. It don't have to be the particular position that she's in. They can offer her to be a janitor as long as they offer her something. Now, if she don't take it, then she'll have to go somewhere else. But they don't have to give her position back. They just have to offer her a position.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Miranda, we need to talk behind the scenes about because we need to find out what can we do. Gerard says America's mindset for the workforce is to do as much as possible with the least reward and compensation. Mothers suffer the most from that mindset. I agree.
Yeah, they do, because you shouldn't be thinking, okay, I got 6 weeks. Within this 6 weeks, I need to try to figure out how I can pump, how I can get childcare, how I can do this and do this and do that, and then go back to work. Because if you drop dead when you go back, you think they care about you or your baby? No. And then if you're gone too long, to make sure you're taking care of your mental health and your baby, then then you can possibly not come back to anything. So, and it is an American thing. Other countries, they don't do that.
And that's why I push this show right here so hard, because the whole foundation of this show is Sisters Talk LLC. So we are all about removing the stigma of counseling in our communities. And so like we forget, Black people forget about their mental health, and they forget about how important it is to do things that make you happy to the core, to do things that help you relax and de-stress. And I feel like we've become so accustomed to living under constant pressure and constant stress that we've made that our norm. Especially for the Black single mothers. Like, I don't care what anybody says. I was a Black single mother, so I can speak from my own experience. All you're doing is working, trying to keep a roof over your head, trying to keep bills paid, trying to keep money saved, trying to do all these things by yourself and keep your child alive and healthy. That's a lot. And then that's not even including corporate America, if that's what you're doing. Or you might be a business owner, which to me is even worse, because you got all of the stress on you. You have to make sure you keep up with everything. So I love what Gerard said here, and I love what you're doing, Charlie, by pushing this bill. And I pray to God that it passes, because we definitely do need that. Raw Take says, if they can give money and benefits to mothers that just sit around having babies, because to them a baby means money and undeserved government assistance, they should surely be willing to pass your bill.
I agree. I agree, Rod. I definitely agree. And that's all in there. But I understand that America is a business. So in my bill, I do give any company that will take on this bill and incorporate it a tax break. So that is in my bill, because I know, like I said, America is a business. So I know the employer will want something in return, unfortunately. So yeah, they will get a tax break.
That is awesome. So can you tell people where they can find these delicious lactation cookies and any other services that you provide?
Yes, my website is mommyssweettreats.com. That's also my handle for Instagram. Facebook is Mommy Sweet Cookies. Again, we have cookies, we have apparel, we have nipple balm, lactation tea. We also have books. I have 2 journals, one called The Conversation with the Coolest Mom and The Coolest Dad. It's like an adult child baby book. So the child would ask a parent a question and vice versa, and they jot it down. I also have a book called Thanks for Telling Me. It's a comical guide for new moms on what to expect after they give birth. So all of the stuff that we go through, our hair thinning, gaining weight, postpartum, I have it in the book, but I address it in a comical way. So it's not to scare the mother, but to inform her and maybe crack a little joke or two. So you can find those on my website.
That is awesome. Can I ask you, do you also offer services to the men, either the husbands or the baby dads or whatever they are, to the female? Do you offer services to them so they can better understand what the female is going through?
Yes, because of COVID, a lot of things they got put on hold, but we were doing breastfeeding classes, and the fathers always wanted to come, because, be honest with you, men want to know. They want to know too. So yeah, the fathers are definitely welcome to come, even if they're not there with the woman. That way they can actually help the mom. So I'm hoping they don't shut the world down again. I don't think Greg Abbott really care about us too much to probably do that again. But
another show.
But definitely I want to incorporate maybe like a daddy meetup instead of a mommy meetup. That's something that's always been on my mind. But it seems like as soon as I have an idea in my head, something kind of halts it, because I was actually supposed to do like a tour in regards to this, and COVID hit. Now like COVID is about to come back around again, so I'm just like, I got to figure out a way.
No, it's not. I rebuke COVID in the name of Jesus. We don't no more. You already showed out for 2020. I'm done.
Yes, that was enough.
Well, we want to thank you, of course, for being a guest on our show today. You definitely have a lot of information out there for everyone, but it's specifically and importantly for the Black community. so that we can kind of remove that stigma of breastfeeding and get back to the natural state. And I'm sure over time, there are going to be more creative ways that women can breastfeed where they don't feel so vulnerable. Because I think that's kind of where I think maybe if I could pinpoint it, that may be how most are feeling. And that's why they decide not to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
I believe we're going to get there.
One step at a time.
Yeah.
Miranda, did you have any final words before we go? Maybe she can't hear me. I blame it on the heat in Houston and in Texas in general. So as always, I want to thank you for being a guest on the show. I'm going to remove you guys from the stream just for a moment. Please don't go anywhere. I got to talk to the audience.
Okay.
So thank you guys for tuning in into the Sisters Talk podcast today. As always, I thank you for your support. Please make sure you like, comment, and share this video. If you're on YouTube, make sure you copy our link and share it with your friends and family. Today, we had a very special guest on the show, CEO Charlee King. She came on here. She talked about lactation. She's a lactation specialist. And for those who are maybe considering breastfeeding, think about it, read about it. Check out her Instagram. It's Mommy Sweet Treats on Instagram. Make sure you check out all the information that you can because it's all at your fingertips on Google. Next week, actually this Friday, we're going to have Miss Brenda onto the show. She has 5 kids, guys. So this is going to be a family show. If you guys are struggling because you only have 2, you're going to want to tune in this Friday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. I had to get her on when I could get her on. And she has like 97.5 followers on Instagram. This lady's busy. So I'm honored that she's going to be a guest on the show this Friday. Also, following Friday, on Sunday, we're going to have Miss Dr. Angela Wilson on the show again. We had her on a few weeks ago. We talked about the power of the unconscious mind. She's going to get onto our show and kind of do some Q&A. So for people who have questions about tapping into their higher self, that will be the time that you would want to tune in. It's going to be on August 8th at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. And before I go, I just have to just give a special shout out to all my sponsors, all the people who help me do what I do. Make sure you check out strangesoundsradio.com. This guy's all the way from New York. Thank you, Jeff, for always supporting all of my crazy ideas and helping my dreams come true. Also, shout out to Ear to the Streets Radio. They're also a radio station that's located in Dallas, Texas. Also another sponsor of the Sisters Talk podcast. And I can't forget Dope Ass Teas by Skits. Thank you so much for everything that you've done for me. You've helped my little girl have the best happy 16th that I could ever imagine. So these are just a few of my sponsors. Guys, if you have a business, if you like to sponsor Sisters Talk podcast, reach out to me. You can give me an email anytime at sisterscwt@gmail.com. And I want to thank you guys for always tuning in. I hope you have a blessed Sunday, and we'll see you on Friday. Not Sunday, Friday. Bye, guys.